Hello and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadel Kabero, back in Nairobi from Luom Bay. Absolutely grateful that you're here for political conversations that are very simple, truthful and biased, with Professor Herman Manyora puts them across in a hard-hitting way. How have you been?
Good.
We're back. The air in Nairobi.
Back. Wonderful. This is Nairobi now. Shamba la mawe.
Shamba la mawe. Yes. Hustle hard. Yes. But we celebrated 60 years of self-rule this week, yes, Madaraka Day. And the big question is, where are we as a country? The video we did with you yesterday, you were talking about a sort of hopelessness that we have, the crop of leaders that we do have. And yes, we're saying there are some people that can build this country. Someone asks, where are we with these leaders during this special time where we're at 60? What would you say?
Our leaders have made us abort the dream of a prosperous nation. All without exception have fallen short of glory. There have been others who have struggled. They have made sacrifices. But in terms of those who have had the chance to lead the country, they have fallen short of glory. But many of the interviews I've done with media, international media especially, I tell them there are two ways of looking at this thing. One is that we are grateful to God that we are alive, both as individuals, as people, and as a country.
Okay.
That many countries who got independence at the same time with us have had challenges. Some of them have gone down, destroyed completely. Some are trying to rebuild. We've been up and running. For that we thank God and we thank our leaders. All the way from Jomo Kenyatta to William Ruto.
What would you attribute this living, as you put it, to? Because we are struggling as a country, really, economically.
Yeah, so I was coming there, I was saying that we are there floating and not under like some other countries. It's good enough. We must thank God for that. And also thank our leaders, all of them. From Jomo Kenyatta, with his team, Daniel Arap Moi, Mwai Kibaki, and Uhuru Kenyatta, and now William Ruto. We thank them because other countries have collapsed during the same time. We have remained a country. We have had our elections. Whatever you want to say of those elections. Civil servants have been getting their salaries since 1963. Life has been moving on. Children go to school. There are countries where children can save 3-4 years without going to school. There are countries that have totally collapsed. We are not. We don't belong to that category. That's what I'm saying. For that alone, we thank God, and we also appreciate our leaders,
even though they are falling short to some extent.
Yes, but now when it comes to the dream itself, the dream, that for which people died and suffered, that one we have failed. We have failed our founding fathers and mothers.
What is limiting us from becoming this prosperous nation that we have in our dreams when we juxtapose Kenya and Singapore?
It's basically cheapness. It is cheapness. We glorify cheapness and smallness. Cheapness and smallness, lack of vision and dream, which it's dreams that have propelled countries into greatness. So instead of our leaders dreaming big, they dreamed about grabbing land, primitive accumulation. So here we are, 60 years later, we are in a country where people worship money. Because that's where we started. We got it wrong from the day one. Where our leaders, instead of pursuing a dream to make this a great nation, they were parochial. And they thought the more acres of land you had, the greater man you are. You can see the folly. And it's still with us now. So that's why we have not been able to, the absence of a dream, of a vision, or people who think accumulation of wealth is all that matters. And you can see, it's there for you to see. That's what defines your national leadership today. That's what defines politics today. It's about how many stupid billions you have. It's not about anything.
The acres of land.
And how many acres of land you have, how many buildings you have. How can a country prosper without cheapness? Extreme cheapness.
You look at the leaders.
Absence of ideas, absence of thinking, no philosophy.
The leaders we have now, of course, we speak about Raila Odinga has been there fighting for the country. We speak about President William Ruto now, who's more or less the father of this country. We look at Musalia Mudavadi, who's representing the Mulembe nation in terms of leadership. Of course, he wasn't speaking, he wasn't given an opportunity to speak.
That was strange also.
On Madaraka Day. Maybe you'll tell me a little bit about that. But you look at these people now that are supposed to lead this country. Do they give you confidence that somehow we will get somewhere?
No. The leadership we have had from 63 up to now is a leadership without a vision. They come, do their best, exit, somebody else comes, who does their best, leave. We thank them for the good things we have achieved. But the bar is too low. For a country to prosper, for our children and their children to find a good nation to live in, the bar must be where it should be. And you cannot have above that nature. You can't have those standards without leaders who have a vision for the country. Now, as a leader who looks into the future and says, long after I am gone to be with my maker, 100 years from now, this is the Kenya I want. Look at that guy who dreamt about Dubai, United Arab Emirates. When he shared his dream with people, they told him, please, you'll go to hospital. You are not well. They said, you are not well, please. Now look at Dubai today. It's somebody's dream. When Lee Kuan Yew took over Singapore, he had a dream and a vision. Some people had even to be flogged. So a country must have a person with a vision. But what are our leaders today? What is the vision do they have? To put on a suit of 1.5 billion, biryani suits, designer suits of 1 million, 2 million, a watch of 10 million. Those are the leaders. That level of cheapness. So, you know, I have this soft spot for Mother Karua. I really have that soft spot. And I think I'm transferring it from Raila to Mother Karua. Because, you see, when Mother Karua said in the interview, you see, the things that make you people jump up and down, they don't excite me. People thought she didn't even understand what she was saying. She was saying this money, these billions, they don't mean to me what they mean to you. Unless you have leaders who see things in that manner, the country cannot prosper.
You know, we are looking at president.
Unless a rich man is a there's nothing wrong with riches. People should not get me wrong. Countries have had billionaire presidents. But there must be people who are at the head of a financial or economic empire, a business empire. Like a family empire creating wealth over years. An entrepreneur. If Richard Branson wanted to become, or Bill Gates became a president of a country, there's nothing wrong with that. They create wealth. But ours don't create wealth. They steal money and put it in the bank. And they think it is wealth. That's not wealth.
You're speaking about vision, it's hitting me because we are looking at President William Ruto. He says he has a vision for housing.
And I'm not talking about Ruto, by the way.
I know, but he's the president now. He's speaking about housing, he's speaking about agriculture, he's speaking about end of theft. This is sort of what he wants to bring. What more do you expect from a leader?
You see, what this country requires, first and foremost, is a vision. Let's agree, what country do we want to have in 10, 20, 50, 100 years?
Not at the end of a presidential term.
Even 5 years. A dream begins now. And there are milestones and there are steps of achieving it. You can't just jump to the dream. You have clear vision, a clear plan, clear steps, processes, stages. But it begins with a big dream. What dream does anybody in this country have? I've never had any of these leaders have a dream. If I was the president, it would be the dream to make Kenya a first world country in less than 20 years. Towards that dream, there are certain things, practical things that are on the ground. I cannot be president for 5 years with Kibra. The worst housing unit in Kenya, if I'm the president in 10 years, will be Buruburu. That will be the slum of Kenya, of Nairobi. Anything below that, Umoja, Zui, Kayole, I'll destroy all those things.
Don't you think it's the leaders themselves that think about the people and say these people don't?
I'm saying those are the things. I want Kenyan children to go to classes and schools like first world countries, like Finland and Singapore. And it's achievable. What do you need to do? Other than having the dream? Because a dream must also be achieved through resources. You must mainstream education. By education, I mean education. Not this certification we are giving people papers. No, really education. And in order to get money to give people really education, as the president, I will ensure nobody will ever steal government money, not even 1 shilling.
No, there's always...
I've always said that. 1 shilling, you will never steal government money. 1 bob, you will not steal. You will not live in this country. I said something on TV. People say, hey, Manyora, I came from NTV in the morning, then I went to Senior Common Mother in Wasamunobi. A friend of mine, the late Professor Court, said, hey, Manyora, if you become president, I'll run out of this country. I said, the people of Kenya are so mad with this theft. And Obama said it when he was here. He said, don't take these people in the streets for fools. When you drive these big vehicles, they know you have stolen their money, which is true. So I said, if I was the president, I would ask the people of Kenya to give me the power to deal with these people, including taking them to Uhuru Park and do certain things to them which are not mentioned now.
My question was, these leaders know the people that elected them, and the people that elected them, according to them, it seems like they don't really care about the theft.
That is why, that's
why they continue stealing.
Listen, that's why they are not leaders. These are opportunists. A leader is there to lead. Hii ujinga nimeuliza watu wangu wamesema, why are you a leader? No leader in history turned back to the people to ask them, do we build pyramids? Which leader did that? The American president who got America out of depression didn't ask Americans, how do you deal with the Great Depression? Empire builders never went to ask people. And that's what Moi said. When we are pushing for this constitution and saying we want people to be talked to, Constituent Assembly, bombers, Moi asked them. Wanjiko, that's how the name Wanjiko came about. Moi said, Wanjiko has sent you to parliament to represent her. Why are you going back to her? Kwa hiyo ujinga tu watu wangu wamesema. I'm listening to the ground. Stupid. Those are not leaders. These are cheap opportunists. A leader has a vision. Why do you want to be a leader? There is a change you want to make. You lead from the front.
All right.
If you want to, they say if you want to conduct a choir, you must turn your back to the crowd. Amna mgani? Si choir iko hapo mbele, mgongo yako iko wapi? Raia wanaimbia wako nyuma yako. So wewe una face raia unaimba na choir iko and you are the
one thing that stood out, I want us to talk just as we wind up, is Mudavadi not speaking at the occasion.
I found it odd.
60, but Mudavadi is not speaking.
There were 2-3 things that were odd. First, and I tweeted about it. Why would a governor read a speech in a presidential function? So some of these people you are calling leaders, these are not leaders, and they don't have advisors. That is the president's day. Even the deputy president cannot read a speech. That was number one, mistake from the lady. Then she just goes to sit. I thought she would have invited Mudavadi. So I thought maybe she forgot. Then the MC calls who? The deputy president. Who proceeds as if nothing is wrong. So, has he also forgotten Mudavadi is around? Then the president comes and I never saw anything. So it got me thinking, there must be something. There must be something. I think the Mount Kenya people are telling Gachagua, you have to put your foot down. You will be taken for granted by this government. You put your foot down. This nonsense of sharing power with Mudavadi, we don't want to hear. And he must have told the president, I will not take it. I could be wrong. It can't happen like that unless there's something.
Mudavadi not speaking.
Yes.
Something's up.
I think Gachagua has been pushed by his people. You remember these days, these days Mount Kenya is talking about 1 man, 1 shilling and what? And appointments. They are not seeing the appointments coming the way they thought. So they must have read a riot to Gachagua, told him, wewe, put your foot down and tell the president, we will not have any of these things.
So even as we're turning 60, politics inaendelea too.
Useless politics. Me, the politics I want for this country. When I close my eyes, I want to open and see a Kenya that is totally different. A Kenya without the slums and the poverty you have witnessed in the countryside. It is possible. We have the resources. We have what it takes. A Kenya with proper education. A Kenya where Kenyan children go to get meaningful education in meaningful environments of classrooms with the trappings of modern civilization, modern technology. I want to see Kenyan children, 5, 6 years, playing with gadgets and making things, making planes fly in the field. I want to see Kenyan children in grade 5, 6 assembling phones. That Kenya is possible.
We need to have a vision.
Not this cheap Kenyan of so long as I've been voted in. So what does it mean to be a president of such a country? This is a poor, dirty third world country. Even being a president of a country like this. When I see some minister, I met some PS recently. I told him, my friend, this is a useless job you are doing. To be a PS in a poor, dirty world country, it's a small job. And you want us to kneel down for you. Just buy a drink, let's take. Don't keep talking about who you are. This is a small job.
All right.
Yeah.
So you just try to make Kenya.
I want to see a Kenya when we can't keep company of. You know, Rwanda is going to overtake us. Tanzania is already ahead of us in some ways. You know that?
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
And I've repeated this thing. The moment Somalia will sort out this political mess, mutakuwa mkiangalia Somalia namna hii. Because the guys are hardworking, they are resourceful, and they are across the world. When they bring from the diaspora experiences and the resources and technology and everything, Somalia will just chop. And they have, you know, people think Somalia is the desert. These guys have resources. It's the politics that have kept them where they are. I hope it's not in my lifetime, but it will be in my lifetime when it will be dragging behind Rwanda.
But I think we must agree that because we are here where we are now as a country, the status that we do have, there's something we've done right, obviously. I'm
saying we must celebrate the fact that other countries went down and we are here.
We are not just,
unfortunately,
I'm saying we're not just alive, we are somewhere.
Unfortunately, our time may be on the way. Maybe it's our time to go through what these other countries have gone through. It will be so sad. It will be so sad that we'll be doing things people did in the 60s. Unstable governments, coup d'etats, things of that nature. Collapsed economies, banana republic. Those are things of the 60s and 70s. Who want to ask if it ever happened to us in the 21st century? But at the rate at which we are going, ladderless, leaderless, autopilot, cheap politics, I will not be surprised if this country goes the way countries went in the 60s and 70s. And that's why I keep saying this country is too good to go down, because I know it can go down. No country without leadership throughout history has ever gone anywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe we should wrap it up.
But we must also point out, before you wrap out, by leadership, small brains think it is Ruto. No, it's not Ruto, it's not Raila. It is a Kenyan driver. The people charged with the responsibility to run this country. The entire cabal. That's what I'm calling the leadership.
All right. We need to rethink. We're at 60. We need to think about the future, because if we don't, it will be such a shame if we go back to places where other countries were in the 70s, 60s, 80s. Till we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.